Good morning. Welcome back again to our third session for today. We have had an interesting panel this morning. Now we're going to explore two so-called action clusters, which are a key component of the smart cities marketplace, as they represent expert groups that help shape projects in, let's say, hot topic areas of smart cities in Europe. And the two hot topic areas that we have with us today are new mobility services and intelligent mobility solutions for energy transition. So we have two groups of presentations. One group of presentations will be hosted by Edwin Mermans, and the second group of presentations will be hosted by Ricardo Poeta. My name is Ilko Kruisinga. I'm your matchmaker for today and actually for the next 2 years, helping you to meet with the right people and helping you to build a project that is fit for finance. Again, I want to point you to the opportunity to ask questions to the various presenters. We have a tool called Slido. It's just a simple link that's available from the page that you're looking this video from. Just use that link, type in your question. We'll be seeing those questions, and I will be, handing out those questions to the various presenters as we go along. Then there's also a meeting area and a help desk. Behind the scenes, we have colleagues available to you should you have any questions. The meeting area is also available via link on this page. It is a Microsoft Teams environment, and there's always somebody there to help you. Now, without further ado, I want to hand over to Edwin, who's going to take us through the Intelligent New Mobility Services Action Cluster topic area. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Edwin Mermans from the province of Noord-Brabant in the Netherlands, and I'm one of the coordinators of the so-called New Mobility Services initiative, which is one of the three initiatives in the Action Cluster Sustainable Urban Mobility. New Mobility Services, that is about large-scale implementation of new mobility services in a smart city context. What we want, that is a breakthrough in the implementation and a mainstreaming of novel mobility solutions enabled by autonomous mobility, CITS, and mobility as a service. We are not about technology push, but to make cities better. What we want is to create impact in cities and regions for citizens. It's about dealing with challenges such as congestion, lack of space, clean air, inclusion, but also about creating new jobs. NMS is a partnership and a community with, at the moment, over 100 active stakeholders from cities and regions, industry, SME, universities, consultancies, and so all stakeholders that are part of this transition. For now, we are especially interested to have more cities and regions on board, especially those with experience and ambitions in fast-tracking the uptake of new mobility services, but also always looking for industry and SME with new solutions and services and vehicles that they want to test in an urban context. NMS is working at the moment in 6 working groups, and today you can listen to 4 of our coordinators, 2 of them this morning, and 2 this afternoon at another session at 2 o'clock. In the very last slide, you find my contact details if you want to know more and want to join the NMS partnership. So now I give the floor to Eleonore Venin, and after that to Theo Thuis. And I didn't use all the slides, but I will click now. Okay, this was one slide, and then you see here the slide with the 6 working groups. And now I give the control to Eleonore.
Hello. Hello, everybody. It works. Just a sec. Okay. So Hannah, I may need your help with the mouse. So good morning. I'm very pleased to present to you, to say a few words about this working group named Last Mile Smart Walking and Cycling. This is the first working group, but the last born of new mobility services. The topic that we are addressing is very, very broad. It's a burning issue. Our ambition is to ask the right questions about last mile smart walking and cycling to make it an engine for creating and launching new projects, gathering several types of stakeholders. But let me tell you more about that. So this working group is about gathering partners from both the public and the private sector, cities in France, cities and government in France, to think about new services, to smartly walk and cycle, and to build strong guidelines, and ideally to define new set of rules that could be replicable all over Europe. So I'll try to go to the next slide. Okay, so we have a broad approach, both in terms of content and in terms of collaboration. In terms of content, as you can see in this slide, we would like to address this topic from a human-centered point of view, but also by drawing links with all the other issues, logistics, parking, pollution, and we have a specific focus on the health of people, making the city healthier and making smart walking and cycling a best alternative to period like the period we are going through with COVID-19. We see that walking, cycling is a relieving option for mobility these days. Sorry, I'm not skilled at that. Okay, so this is an example of questions that we are addressing and asking in this work package. How to make people walk or cycle? This is a very simple question, but we see multiple answers blooming all over Europe. So which answers are the best? And the best being those who are replicable and who could convey the best practices in Europe. How to guide people, how to guide the pedestrians and the two-wheelers specifically. This is a specific type of communication. How to guide them, how to communicate with them in a safe and appropriate way. How to educate people to walk and cycle. It's not always easy to say, go out and walk, go out and cycle. Well, what type of incentives could work? Which are the best incentives that we could offer to people? And how to change the attitude toward smart walking and cycling in certain countries where there is no specific culture of it. I'm speaking from France. I'm based in France today, and I can tell you that in France it's not as easy to walk and cycle as in the Netherlands, for example. So there is a real education to be made. Our roadmap. Like I told you, we are very young as a work group in new mobility services. So we are here between preparation and action. We are still mapping the scope, asking the good questions, and calling for people, both from organizations and cities, to join our work group. We will soon launch our first projects that we would like to apply to European funding programs. We have a first project under preparation on the appropriate communication to pedestrians and two-wheelers. This is something that we are having in mind for early 2021, but this is the first project. We have a lot of resources that we would like to gather with you. So this project should be launched by the end of this year, early next year, for great impact on cities and governments. We want to launch impactful projects. So cities could be very important stakeholders to test and experiment these new services for smart walking and cycling. This leads to my last slide. Our vision, our ambition is to create strong public and private partnership and to have a very open approach. The projects we will launch should gather all types of stakeholders that are involved in smart walking and cycling and making it better in cities. So this is the first point in terms of type of partnership. The second point is that we want to be open to the other working groups of NMS. And the first work group we'd like to interact with and synergize with is smart parking. And this is our next presentation with Theo. And eventually, we will synergize with the work group Excellent Governance, because our ambition, as I told you, is to define the best replicable practice for smart walking and cycling. So join us or send us a message if you want any information on how to join this work group. This work group is co-coordinated by 3 organizations, which totally illustrates this ambition of creating public-private partnership. So I represent the private sector. The University of Breda is representing the academic world, and the region of Northeastern England is representing the government type of partners. So join us. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for having the opportunity to present the smart parking working group. Thank you very much, Leonore, for your presentation about cycling and walking. My name is Theo Thuis. I'm representing the European Parking Association. That's an association of 21 countries, public and private, dealing with more than 440 million parking spaces all over Europe, of which 44 million are regulated, representing an industry of more than 25 billion euros. Let me see. So smart parking is presented as a part of the new mobility service ecosystem. You will all recognize the interrelationships with the digitalization, the public realm, which I will tell you a little bit more about it with other modes of transport. So today, smart parking is enabled by digitalization, which is crucial. All kind of ways of identification by license plates, by QRs, codes, supporting new mobility modes, and a dynamic multi-use of space. What's very important that it's all data driven, and we need to get an alignment of these available data. Which is still a very huge challenge. Many systems which are not aligned and not connected. So talking about a seamless customer experience is really a challenge in the mobility arena. Oops. So a very good example of the last couple of years is Barcelona, where they have integrated the curbside management, that's parking on street, with the urban mobility system, and they were able to reduce the number of private vehicles from 2.6 million to 1.2. So that's a fantastic contribution in keeping the city flowing and keeping the city accessible and livable. I would like to mention a very important program that's called Park for Sump, and they just published, and we're working together with Park for Sump. It's a Civitas program together with Polis and EPA, and there you will find a very good overview of good reasons and principles for parking management. So in this parking management, Park for Sump is presenting parking management as a game changer for urban mobility. And Park for Sump helps cities to integrate innovative parking management solutions into sustainable urban mobility plans for a better mobility and quality of life. And it stimulates the movement and turning parking from reactive and operational as today to become more strategic and effective and holistic. So 16 European cities have teamed up with some support of technical partners and research centers. And the program started in 2018. There's a small delay, of course, now by COVID, but it will be continued until 2022-23. A great number of fantastic examples. And we are working, as point number 4, very closely together with Park for Sump, Polis, and the EPA. More specifically, I would like to mention today in this session a couple of other projects, which is very actual due to COVID. A lot of cities are adapting the road capacity of inner cities. So also, in addition to what Leonora was talking about, cycling and walking, cities like Brussels, Paris, London, Milan, Barcelona, they are really speeding up in creating more safe, because it's also about safety when we're talking about cycling and walking capacity, less on-street parking. And there's really a revolution going on in the big cities. Now the challenge is it also will it also be implemented in medium-sized cities, let's say between 100,000 and 500,000 inhabitants. We are working together, number 2, with Polis in the REVEAL program about access regulations for urban vehicles. Most of the European countries are very afraid of congestion charging, that kind of stuff. So there is an environmental regulation program going on, which is very effective, and we have to find a way to get aligned with these programs. Also very interesting now is the alignment and the supporting of the electric cars by creating a sustainable electric charging infrastructure in cities. So we all know the brand hubs of Tesla and Ionity. We all know the charging infrastructure at home and at the office. But there will be now additional services, fast charging at petrol stations, for example, or in car parks. The network capacity, that's one of the challenges in cities. So how are we able, let's say, first until 2030 to enable all these electric cars? Again, we're playing a lot of crossovers with the other working groups. Leonora mentioned already cycling and walking. I would like to mention urban freight. This afternoon, Danielle de Boer will present especially the availability of urban space. You can only use it once. So why aren't we identifying more flexible usage of that urban space? So we are defining an urban freight project by having smart deliveries and redefining the curbside management. in different cities. And there we have an alignment with Alice. In the last project, traffic management, you see, due to the digitalization, we are able to direct and inform customers more effectively in reducing searching traffic and the usage of other modes of transport. So what's the impact? It's a little bit confusing, I must admit, these days. More private transport, cycling, walking, e-mobility and e-cars. More public space in the first ring outside the pedestrian zones. Reduction of on-street parking capacity. A better usage of existing off-street capacity by parking for all vehicles. Reduction of searching traffic by pre-bookings, navigation and car-free zones. And really a change in the modal split. So more walking and cycling, public transport and less car traffic. I would like to announce our next year conference in Brussels, where we are taking the EU Green Deal as a starting point, integrating parking into dynamic urban management. So thank you very much, and you're kindly invited to join us. I'm also representing Marek and Iwona from Navipark. Thank you very much.
Echo, I think this would be time for the questions from the audience.
Yes, indeed. So we have some questions related to new mobility services. And they're quite varied. And indeed, there's a question. The first question was really around becoming a test bed. Is that possible? And how does a city link up to new mobility service to become a test bed, or to be in discussion around that topic of becoming a test bed? So maybe that's a question for Edwin to respond to, the man with the oversight.
Exactly. I mean, I'm one of the overall coordinators of NMS and trying to get new partners on board. So especially cities with ambitions to be part of a test bed, just contact me. I'm on the tool here on the matchmaking event, so I think you can find me. Otherwise, I will ask Vanessa to give my contact details. It's also on the very last slide from now. And yeah, we are ourselves in my region a test bed in which we test all kinds of solutions, and we're really eager to have from all over Europe regions and cities in their context to test solutions. I could talk about it 2 hours more.
Okay, thanks Edwin. Thanks Edwin. And then there was a question. I think it was around the item that Eleanor was talking about, the last mile, or talking about walking is the question. So what would be the average distance people will want to walk, and what sort of incentives have you seen or are considering to get people to walk even or more? It's probably a question for Eleanor, or maybe that's something you want to research. Something you want to research, perhaps.
This is something we're researching, actually. Yes, these are very good questions. First answer to the question: what would be the average distance people would want to walk? I would answer, it depends. It depends on who you are, your age, your physical condition. So it really depends. And this is a very important aspect in research. Depending on who you are, you will be keen on walking more or less, and you will need this or that type of incentive. So this leads to the second question. What sort of incentives have we seen to get people to walk more? Well, I have in mind some examples. Having people offering people rewards when they walk within a challenge or a game, and they get reward, so they will be interested in walking more to get these rewards. Challenges, collaborative challenges, that could be an interesting aspect too. And also, we have here in Lyon, in France, we have this experiment of a digital signage system which displays the walking distance. And this has an impact on the decision making. People realize, they are aware that going to that museum or going to the swimming pool is not that far in terms of walking distance. So they decide to walk instead of taking the bus or taking the car. So this is the type of example that we have these days. But
thank you very much. So there are actually quite a few other questions, but also in the interest of time, what I suggest then also to the people of the New Mobility Services initiative is to gather those questions up and then sort of route them via Edwin, and then we can, you know, arrange a response to those questions and post them on the B2Mess website, if that's okay. Now I want to hand over to Ricardo Poeta, who is representing the Intelligent Mobility Energy Transition Initiative. So I want to give the controls to Ricardo. Welcome, Ricardo. I'm looking forward to hearing your story. Thank you.
Hi, Elko. Thank you so much. So, Ricardo Poeta, I represent the IMET, which stands for Intelligent Mobility for Energy Transition. And IMET is there to support the Commission's commitments in the energy roadmap by 2050. As you know, the target is to achieve at least 32% renewable energy production by 2030 and climate neutral by 2050. So basically, intelligent mobility refers to the interaction of electric vehicles, which have increasingly autonomous driving capabilities with the surrounding infrastructure, including energy systems. So in a way, it represents a transformation in the way vehicles are driven, integrated into society, and powered. In this graphic, you can see a visualization whereby electric vehicles, batteries, and also energy efficiency technologies are integrated into the wider energy system. So the idea here is that you would use your car at night to use the energy, and during the day you would produce your own energy. I mean, this includes themes such as energy decentralization, smart charging, battery storage, vehicle to grid, and in order to achieve energy decentralization, trying to click here, yes, it works. We need to go to a new model in which we will have many small power producers instead of having industrial large power plants. So basically decentralized, ignoring boundaries. This will also include small-scale transmission and regional supply compensation. It will go in both directions, and the consumer will also be participating in the system. In here, you can see an example of a commercial / public area as well. So this is the Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam, which is totally self-sufficient using second life batteries from old Nissan Leafs, actually, and also producing the solar energy. So this IMET initiative wrote a white paper recently, and we have here with us Anna Domenech, which is the leader of the IMET initiative, co-lead together with me, and she will talk a little bit about that. Anna?
Thank you, Ricardo. So you have explained very well what is the background of our initiative. It was launched by Nissan Europe back in 2017. The objective was to, sorry, there has been a mistake with the slides. So the objective was to foster open collaboration with the different stakeholders in order to achieve together a massive rollout of the intelligent mobility solutions, which in turn would help supporting the energy transition, so the further resilience and sustainability of our energy systems. We have organized the work in two different work packages. The first one is, as Ricardo already introduced, the white paper. It's related to supporting the public authorities to make the right choice in order to remove the blockers for this rollout of the solutions. We have identified 6 different action points. I will go very quickly through it. We advocate for further integrating, getting a more integrated approach when defining policy measures to support energy and mobility, decentralizing energy systems, further electrifying mobility, integrating smart charging capacity to our infrastructure, incentivizing investments in order to allow the scale up of the solutions, and finally, empower consumers. Just to exemplify, just to illustrate the way we have worked, because it's not just Nissan working on this initiative. The idea is that it needs to be a very open initiative in order to achieve its objectives. We have collaborated in the white paper with local and also pan-European partners in the different sectors, industry in energy and mobility, research centers, universities, large pan-European networks. For instance, in terms of large pan-European networks, we have key endorsers of the white paper, which are Polis Network, which is the network for cities and regions on innovation in transport. Then we have Euroelectric, the sector association for electricity partners, and Avere, the network for electromobility. But we have other pan-European networks, we have big industrial groups, we have very small SMEs and startups. And in the project, we are also working on what we call the IMET projects. We also have cities and, well, many different partners at local level. So that's our second work package. First one was about policymakers. Second is about real cases and how actually we can prove that intelligent mobility solutions have a very significant impact in the sustainability of our society. So we are organized per country across the whole Europe. We have an ambassador of IMET in each country, and this ambassador has been charged to foster collaboration in order to launch projects on intelligent mobility. Many projects have been organized, and we have made a selection of the 10 projects that we believe more efficiently illustrate the impact of intelligent mobility in society. So I will give back the floor to Ricardo to present the different ambassadors that are presenting projects today. We have many more, and they will be all displayed on the website soon. But if you have more doubts or you want to join the initiative, you can always contact us directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. So, as Anna mentioned, we have invited some of our ambassadors to showcase the projects and have a little discussion on their feasibility. So, Marek, are you there? Hello, Marek.
Yes. Hello.
Marek
Good afternoon.
from LV Parking. Hi. Can you explain us how you're transforming car parks into e-mobility hubs, please?
Yes. Thank you very much, Ricardo. I would like to present the Park and Charge project done together with Polish Academy of Science in Warsaw, supporting IMET objectives through parking digitalization and creation of e-mobility hubs. Parking digitalization enables transition to more sustainable, new citizens-oriented business models in electromobility, e-logistics, e-car sharing. Parking capacity can be repurposed in order to satisfy needs of different stakeholders as cities, parking owners, mobility service providers, logistic companies, and citizens. The objective of the project is delivery of the architecture framework ready for scaling in other cities and regions. Through standard APIs, all stakeholders can get access to digital parkings, including EV charging stations, while providing innovative and sustainable services. So we open up ourselves to ecosystem providing e-mobility services. Thank you.
Thank you, Marek. I believe, Jason, are you there? Jason Warwick?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Jason. Jason is from your Urban Integrated. Could you please tell us about your Easy Charge?
So Easy Charge is what we call our product, which results from our project in the UK, which was also called Park and Charge. So slight name change to avoid confusion. So this is about a technology and business model to enable EV charging at scale in car parks. So we believe that the largest part of the EV charging market outside of charging at home will be charging on the street or for homes that don't have parking spaces, which is around 43% of drivers in the UK. Similar research in Germany shows it's a similar figure. On top of that, we also have the destination visitors to car parks, which is again another very substantial part of the market. The technology solution includes a specific charger, 22 kilowatts, which has got the best price performance for what we believe the demand will be in the car parks. We have a next generation charge point operator platform that focuses on convenience features such as reservations, guaranteed reliability and availability of the chargers, but also revenue optimization for the car park operators. The business model is very unique in terms of we've developed a return on investment calculator in conjunction with Oxford University and Oxfordshire County Council. So that ensures that we target car parks where we know that there will be a good return on investment based on demand and the cost of installing the infrastructure. Also a link to a previous presentation that we saw, we are measuring the distance that people are prepared to walk, between 5 to 10 minutes walk from their homes to these car parks. So in summary, this is all about creating a business model that will enable large-scale investment in car parks across Europe.
Thank you, Jason. Short and sweet. For the next one, we actually have a surprise. Valerio, are you there? Valerio is in Milan, and I believe you have something to show us, right? Valerio? We cannot hear you, Valerio.
Valerio, you're on mute.
I'm not sure he's on
microphone. Yes, now I'm here.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
I'm in Milan, in one of our mobility area, close to Bocconi University. Mobility areas are intermodal nodes for electric mobility, to boost electric mobility, and in particular, shared electric mobility, located at intermodal nodes, so close to the public transportation services and light mobility, like bike sharing stations or something like that, for the last mile. So with our project, we are boosting the last mile transportation system, and our mobility areas that I can show you here, a fast charge EV station, 150 kilowatts, and the other quick charge stations in this mobility area. And our solution is also equipped with sensors for smart parking sensors, and we are also trying to test a couple of smart parking sensors. So we are providing a technological solution to boost the last mile and EV transportation, EV sharing. Our mobility areas are also powered by by solar power, because we have equipped the stations with the mobility areas with solar power, and we are replicating this model even in private areas, both in Milan and in Naples. So in Milan, we are supporting EV sharing companies, and even in Naples, we have launched just a week ago another car sharing services made by electric vehicles powered by our mobility areas in parking in private spaces. These are located in public ones. So I think this is a good showcase to that goes in the direction all our colleagues explained in these sections, because parking services are the base of the new mobility for sure. Okay, thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you very much, Valerio, as well.
I'm sorry if it's quite moving my picture, but it was funny. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valerio. Please don't go away. So, I mean, now these for the ones that don't see a direct link between these projects and the IMET initiative, I just want to say that all these projects are contributing to the further development of the infrastructure, so energy infrastructure, but also digital infrastructure around Europe. That will allow us to achieve. Oh, Valerio, could you please? Yes, thank you. I was hearing a dog on the street.
Sorry.
No problem. Anyway, but one of the questions that a lot of entrepreneurs and investors have is, I mean, all these projects have received public funding, but how feasible is their business model without this kind of public funding? So I'd like to hear about all these projects and all of you. So Marek, why don't we start with you? I understand that you have implemented Navi parking in several countries already, including Dubai, where you are stationed now, right?
Yeah.
So, yes. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the business model, its feasibility, and also socioeconomic benefits that you see?
We agree based on different scenarios, depending on stakeholders involved. For example, with a car park owner, we charge a commission fee for every transaction which is conducted on the parking. But you can, for example, imagine that there is a e-logistic provider which takes advantage of the parking capacity. We can also get or subscription fee or a commission fee from the logistic provider as well, which is then further, passed to the parking owner. So there is, in fact, a revenue share model which allows to build a sustainable business model.
Thank you. Jason?
Sorry, hello. So yes, our business model is based on generating revenue for the car park operator from EV charging. So we're currently deploying 300 chargers, 30 car parks across Oxfordshire in the UK. And we expect payback in around 3 years. It depends on, obviously, the uptake of EVs in the market, which is why we're doing some very detailed market analysis led by Oxford University to validate that. And also, there's a wide variation in cost of installing charging into different locations due to the basically the energy network connectivity. So we think for this particular model, funding isn't required. It certainly, I don't think, will be required in 2 to 3 years. What we do find is that some cities are currently offering concessions to use their car parks for free or for very low fees in order to encourage adoption, which is always welcome. So, it's pretty positive outlook. But I think, where there could be support is around bringing together the different types of solution around, let's say, place to provide a joined up solution for the end user. So I'll give you an example of that. We offer shared cars in the same locations that we offer the same car parks that we offer the EV charging, and we would look to, and Merrick and I have discussed around a joint architecture, so we can build up these different siloed solutions into sort of a single offer for the city or for the citizen.
Thank you. Valerio?
Okay, I'm here close to the bike sharing.
Keep in mind.
I know. Sorry.
We have a question from one of the participants that actually asks, so what kind of revenue are you envisioning for the charging station? What is the medium expected payback period?
That was exactly the reason why I switched on my camera, because we have two revenue streams, one from EV charging stations and one from the platform that enable smart parking services and fleet sharing services, because our platform could also manage the car sharing services or vehicle sharing services. So in the public application, of course, the payback is longer, because we usually don't have revenue streams from the sharing vehicle platform, but only from the EVs. And at the moment, we are working with the fleets, so car sharing services, EV sharing fleets, and the logistic fleets that are in Milan, especially turning on electric vehicles because of environmental policies. So we are supporting this transition to electric mobility in Milan. And in the replication in the private sector, so in parking spaces, is different, because we enable even the last mile sharing services for small companies. So we have two streams, and the investment to build up a station in a parking lot is less expensive. So the payback is very interesting, and the business model is very interesting too. So we are pointing on that for replication. Okay.
Thank you, Valerio. Anna, there's a question here from a participant who asks, what role should governments and local governments play in getting IMET solutions in place?
Oh, thank you. I am very happy of receiving this question, because actually this is the perfect teaser for people to download our white paper on intelligent mobility. This is answering the question directly and with a lot of detail. But just to very, very quickly answer it now, I have been speaking about the 6 action pillars that were included in the white paper, and city councils have an important role of this. For instance, supporting projects to further electrify their mobility, supporting projects that could further integrate smart charging solutions to their networks, or further empowering consumers.
Thank you, Anna. Elko, I was wondering, we still have 2-3 minutes left. Are there any questions left from the audience? Ilko?
Yes, I'm here. So, I think there's one question. Maybe it's directed, or I could direct it to Marek. It was probably around the repurposing of parking houses and car parks. What sort of innovative, or rather inspiring, examples have you seen in Europe?
So what is the question exactly?
No, so about the repurposing of car parks and you know, so giving them new sort of destinations and purposes, because you were talking about that, Marek, and I think people were looking for some examples or inspiring examples that they could, you know, take note of.
Absolutely. So digitalization, as also what was mentioned by Theo, you know, unlocks potential park capacity, parking spaces. In a traditional model, you just now have access to the parking, which is managed by the car park. Through the station, you can unlock potential of the parking capacity to all stakeholders outside the parking, because you have digital access rights. So you can dynamically assign access rights to the parking to the stakeholders, for example, logistics service providers, or you know, petrol delivery, you know, services or washing services. So suddenly the parking can you know, unlock potential mobility services, and in this case will stimulate electrification of transportation, because if you have charging stations, you can build ecosystem of all kinds of services, you know, which can be located or dynamically assigned to the parking.
I think Marek's connection has.
I think we lost him. Hello.
Are you? Do you hear me? Hello.
Yes,
yes,
now
we
we
do.
can hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, this was just my conclusion. If you would like to know more, I'm happy to say more. But for the sake of time, I just try to short.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As
Thank
you
you,
can see on the slides, our contact details are here. If you have any questions, you'd like to participate, you're just curious, you want to read the white paper or the executive summary, please do not hesitate to contact us. I believe these slides will also be shared with all the participants. So there you go. It was really a pleasure moderating this session. Thank you so much to Anna, Marek, Jason, and Valerio for your contribution, and I hope you enjoyed it. Ilko, also thank you very much for checking the questions of the audience and reminding them.
Thank you, Ricardo. So with that, I want to thank everybody, also Edwin and his team, for the contributions, and of course, a special thanks go out to Valerio, who had this impromptu contribution live from the streets of Milan, which was great, something different. I'm sure that we will make all of the presentations available through our website, and of course you can learn more about these initiatives through the marketplace website as well. If you're interested and you are a stakeholder, do get in touch with them. I'm sure that they will be happy to accommodate you and your needs, but also your contributions as well. Meet us at the meeting area. It's still available during the whole day until 5 CET, where there's always somebody available to help you with any questions you might have. This live stream will now close, but will reopen at 2 o'clock this afternoon CET, with further contributions from the wondrous world of urban mobility and transport. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.